Okay, this is Chapter 7. We're going to talk about innovation and change. One of the things that you have to know, especially if you're working in a corporation, that change is almost a constant. If we're not changing, then something's wrong and you really need to worry about things. So innovation and change. The first thing we're going to talk about is technology cycles. A technology cycle is, well, the next slide really talks about it well. But basically we're looking at when a technology begins its life and how it moves through its life and then how it dies and how it's replaced by another technology. In Intel, they know their technology cycles very well. Their supply chain has things down pat. They know that the lifespan for a new chip is 3 years. And so they don't really have to guess around. We have a research, and the researchers and the engineers are developing the new chip to replace this chip, the current standard. And when we're buying and we're setting up the fabrication facility, we know how much to buy, when to taper off our purchases, because we really know that life cycle, or they really know the life cycle of their chips well. In fact, when I was working on a PhD in supply chain, I interviewed the supply chain guys at Intel, and that was one of the things that they were most excited to share with us. That and their supplier inventory, where their supplier gives them consignment inventory. Anyway, another story. So here's this S curve really speaks to that cycle, where at the beginning of the S curve, part A, you see it takes a lot of effort to get any real performance benefits in whatever technology we're working with. So with the cell phones, way back in the day, the cell phones were big. They had a big antenna, no way you're going to put them in a pocket, or even a purse. It was big. You'd have to have a backpack or something like that to carry them around. People could put them in their briefcases, but they're huge. And it took a lot of effort and money to take those huge machines and bring them into a pocket-sized cell phone. And we'd actually say that the amount of effort to get those big gains decreased for the gains that we received, and then the technology kind of died out, and I would say it was replaced by the cell phone. So now, or the smartphone. So now we have smartphones coming into play, and right now we're in a small effort with big performance boosts. The question is, have we reached the end? Are we at the C, at the tail curve, where cell phones are going to die out? And if so, what are they going to be replaced with? The next thing we need to talk about is these innovation streams. Again, I don't want to beat the cell phones to death, or the smartphones to death, but if you look at Apple, that's what they're doing. They started with the original iPhone. I'm not sure what was on it. I don't think it had camera capability, but it was, I think it was a cross between a phone and an iPod. So you play music and games and a cell phone. And then we're starting to add cameras and other things to it. And every time they change their technology, they find more things, more innovations they want to put into it, they can release an update or a new phone, and then I'll get rid of my old phone so I can play with the new phone, and the battery is almost dead anyway. So, I mean, running out or whatever, you need to replace battery. I don't know if you can replace batteries in iPhones anymore. Anyway, so this idea is this innovation that we keep on, the stream flow of innovation. We can keep on incorporating new innovations into our product, release updated products, and sell more and more. Sometimes it doesn't work out so well. One of the problems that I just read an article on the GoPro, and they have a new camera, a little square camera replacing their triangle camera. I don't own them, but this is what I read. And they're not selling very well, the smaller cameras, the newest GoPro cameras. And one of the reasons they're not is people are really like the older style. And so sometimes our innovation streams can get messed up. So we really need to have a good connection with our customer as we're innovating, so we have that connection and we don't lose our way. One of the things that happens too is that sometimes when we're innovating, there are competing forms or innovation. So when we moved away from VHS, way back in the day, there were laser disc players, and that lasted a short period of time. And then there was competition between high definition players and Blu-ray players. And I think Xbox backed the HD and PlayStation backed the Blu-ray, and they were competing for dominance. And the deciding factor was when Disney came out and said, we're going with Blu-ray, and we're going to put all of our stuff on Blu-ray. Then HD just died out. And we go into this thing called technological lockout, where really it's hard. You can't buy HD stuff anymore. The format, everything is gone. Now, if I were building machines or a lot of things that were relying on HD and banking on HD being the dominant design, and it isn't, then we have that disconnect, and that might cause my company some strife, or some, we might go into some crisis mode as we're trying to reassess and reconfigure our equipment to the more appropriate Blu-ray. Okay, so remember dominant design and technological lockout.